lumberjack show. It's right behind that rain barrel building, but it's right there. That's where all the lumberjack games are. That's where they have the lumberjacks. It's a really fun show to go to, really awesome. In fact, anybody can audition to become a lumberjack in the games. Last year I auditioned, but I sadly did not make the cut. Could say that I got the axe. I guess I didn't like what they saw. I was barking up the wrong tree, they said. It is the only federal building in the entire United States that is salmon in color. We had special permission to paint it salmon pink. Oh. Right over here you'll see this white church building. This is pretty cool. This church building, this is called the St. John's Episcopal Church. Now the reason I think it's pretty cool is that this building used to mark the shoreline of Ketchikan, meaning the water came straight up to the front doors of this building. I got a picture of what that used to look like. Right here. You can see right here we got the water coming straight up to the front doors. We got boats parked right there. Ever since this picture was taken, we have built out over the water. We've grown. We've expanded. So ever so slightly, we have changed the geography of Ketchikan due to construction. So the water doesn't come up that far anymore. But think of a time where you'd have to row your boat to church rather than walking. It's kind of bizarre. Absolutely. Now we're a pretty full group. There's only a handful of seats empty, so there's a good chance that somebody here is from NYC. Anybody from New York City? A couple of us, right on. You guys might recognize this road we're about to turn onto. This is our very own Park Avenue. I hear it's a spitting image of the one in Manhattan. Wah, wah. In case you missed the joke there, guys, this looks nothing like the one in Manhattan. Nothing like it. So you may have seen pictures or videos of, salmon swimming upstream to go spawning. That happens here in Ketchikan. We are famous for our salmon. We are the salmon capital of the world. So right over here, it's going to begin on this side. Hello. It's going to begin over here on this side. It's going to go under us, and it will continue over here on port side. So this is the Ketchikan Creek, guys. Because there's a couple cars in front of us, we don't have a great view, but if you guys want, you can stand, get a better view, take your pictures if you want. Right over here, this is Ketchikan Creek. This is the creek that all the salmon swim up when they're trying to get to the spawning grounds. And they are in there. The salmon are there swimming upstream. They're all making their way up. Yes, this is where the ladder is. And just because there's a car in front of us, we can't get a super good view. That's the view we can get right now. Luckily, though, when we pull away, we will over here on port side. It's a continuation of the creek, so you will get to see the creek more. Yeah, we're just gonna get going, guys, because I guess on the port side we're gonna get a better view. Now, like I was saying, the fish are in the creek. They are in there. Although I will be honest, they're kind of a little camouflaged right now. So if you look in the creek and you see a little dark shadow, that is the fish. And at places a little bit further up, you'll see these giant, black clouds. Just black clouds. That is all salmon. A big group of salmon in our big school. Yeah. Now, from where we're going to drop you guys off to right here, it's not a terribly far walk. It's only like an 8-minute walk. So it's really easy to come back. Plus, there is a free bus that'll pick you up right from where we drop you off and drop you off pretty much right here at the creek. So that cuts your walk in half. But yeah, if you guys wanted to come back here, there are ways. And at times, it gets so thick with the fish that this is what it'll look like. It will be jam-packed full of fish, chock full. It would be swimming with this fish. Wah, wah. In fact, it gets so thick with the fish that you could walk across the fish's back to get to the other side of the creek and still have dry feet. But only the men participate in that activity. The women don't do that. You want to know why the women don't do that? Because women don't like to step on scales. Absolutely. Speaking of fish, here in just a second, we're going to be passing the creek one more time. This area of the creek, we're going to go over a little bridge, and on both sides of the vehicle here, we're going to see it. This section of the creek, this is the actual spawning grounds of the salmon. This is where their end destination is. This is where the female salmon will come and they'll nestle in the gravel here, and they'll lay their eggs. Thousands of eggs all at once. And then the male salmon will swim over top of those eggs and he'll squirt his milk as he passes. And that is what fertilizes the eggs. That whole phenomenon will happen right in that section. Anybody know what happened to the fish after they spawn? They die. Yeah, that's just the life cycle of the fish. It's Mother Nature at work. But can you imagine those hundreds, thousands of fish all dead at the end of the season? Imagine that smell. We call that smell Ketchikan perfume. Whack, whack. A lot of people ask me what we do with the fish after the season's over. Like, do we clean them up or anything? And the answer to that is nothing. We don't do anything. That is way too many fish for us to clean up. We will let nature take its course. Many of the fish will get sucked back downstream, go into the ocean, become chum for any other animal. But any dead fish that stay in the creek, they will just build away in the earth. Eventually turn into fertilizer. So, yeah. Absolutely. When the fish are in the creek, the bears come into town. Absolutely. Although bears are scared of humans, so now that it's daytime, middle of the day, people are out. Bears are probably not going to be in town. They're going to be out hiding. At night, when no people are around, that's when they come. But now that we've stopped again, guys, feel free to stand, take your pictures. Right over here, this is City Park. We release them out into the wild, thus helping out the general fish population. But with it being an outdoor hatchery, anybody want to guess what the two big dangers to that were?
Bears.
Bears for sure. Birds. Yep, more specifically eagles. Bears and eagles. Yep. This was a literal open buffet for those animals. They would come here, plant themselves on the shore, and they would just feast away. Because of that, the city was losing way too much money. They ended up closing down this outdoor hatchery. But at the same time, they opened an indoor hatchery. So in the very back there, kind of hidden behind all those trees, you might see a brown building with a little green and white sea on it. That is the indoor hatchery. And we still do the same thing in there. It's just protected indoors. And it's not exactly like an aquarium, but you can come pay a few dollars. You could tour around the aquarium. And they got those giant pools on the inside full of all the fish that they're taking care of. So in a sense, you can walk around and see all the fish in there. So I did the conversion back in the 40s, 50s, or 60s. I'm forgetting the exact date, but it was somewhere in there. And back then, $200 really would go a long way. You could turn it into a park with only $200. Nowadays, $200 is just a fee to start thinking about doing anything with this. So it gets you nowhere nowadays. Exactly. Hey, I think we're good to go. If you are. So here in just a second, we're going to be passing the creek one final time. Again, we're going to go over a bridge, and it'll be on both sides of the creek. Or pretty far upstream. This is where only the strongest salmon will come to do their spawning. The strongest of the strongest. Now, when it comes to this fish, the stronger you are, the bigger you tend to be. The bigger you tend to be, the more tasty you are. The more tasty you are, the more desirable you become. Ergo, since that section of the creek has the strongest fish, they also have the tastiest fish. So that is a pristine area to go fishing when the salmon are in the creek. And for $15, you can get yourself a day fishing license. And then for however much it is to rent a fishing pole, you can always come back here, go fishing, send yourself home some fish. Keep that section in mind. That's the best area to go fishing. It'll be king salmon is what they're called. Yeah. And they're the tastiest. So you're getting yourself a steal of a deal for $15 plus however much it is to rent a fishing pole. Yeah. So just a little bit ago, we turned onto this road. Welcome. This is Bear Valley. Welcome to Bear Valley. It's called Bear Valley because this is where all the major sightings of bear happen on the island. And as you can tell, this is the neighborhood. You know, people live here. Life does not slow down for the bears. So it said to live here in Bear Valley, you need three things. One, you need a bear whistle or bear spray. Either one will do. Two, you need a bear-proof trash can. And three, you need a slow friend. Wang, wang. Here on the island, there's only two types of bear. We have black bear and we have gummy bear. Gummy bears are just a snack, so you don't have to worry about them. Black bears, on the other hand, they are the real deal. They're the real bear. Luckily for us, though, they are notoriously afraid of humans. So well before you've seen the bear's already seen you and they're already running away. But when I said bear-proof trash can, I said it with air quotes because it's not really bear-proof. Bears love eating from the trash. All they got to do is knock that sucker over, sit on top of it, and out pops the lid. Then they can eat their favorite thing from the trash. Anybody want to guess what that thing is? Salmon, good guess. Any other guesses? Chocolate, that's what I'd be eating if I was a bear. But what they love to eat is dirty diapers. Yeah. A different kind of chocolate. Wah, wah. And I don't blame the bears, though. Bears just love to be pampered. They just need a huggy. Want to know their favorite brand of diaper? Depends. Wang, wang. All right, enough crappy jokes. Let's move on. Right over here, just in front of your cruise ship, behind these buildings, this harbor here is called Thomas Basin. Back in the day, before the harbor was dredged, when the tide was out, the whole harbor here would turn into a giant mud flat. And the men from that era, they would lay down a home plate, they would draw some lines, and then play baseball right in here. They played ball until the tide came in. When the tide hit their ankles or thereabouts, they called it a game. Whoever had the most points would win. But you could say that every game ended in a tide. Wah, wah. Just so you guys know, I am a new dad, so I am practicing all my dad jokes on you guys. Thank you, thank you. And for the record, I do think all of my jokes are stellar. I think they're all home runs. Wah, wah. But now that it looks like we're stopping again, so as I've said before, now that we've made a complete stop, feel free to stand, take some pictures. Right over here, this is Creek Street. This is the old red light district. This is definitely one of the more historical parts here in town. Definitely a highlight, so I'm glad we're getting to stop. But aside from it being a pretty historic part, this is also the mouth of the creek. So all the fish that are swimming upstream, they will pass through here. And there will, especially when it's higher tides, I think we're at a higher tide now, actually. Well, higher. Seals like to come in here and like to chase and catch the fish. So there's a lot to see here in the creek. Plus, I do see a handful of fish down there swimming around. And about half a block up from here, that's the salmon ladder that we were briefly stopped at. And then half a block over from that, that is the actual spawning grounds. And as you can see, your ship is right over there. That's where we picked you up, and that's where we're going to drop you off at the end too. So from there to here, not a far walk. But like I was saying, half a block up is the salmon ladder, half a block over from that is the actual spawning grounds. Lots to see over here. Plus that bus I was talking about, they will pick you up right over there, and they'll drop you off like right here. So if you guys are going to do anything after the tour, I would definitely come here. There's a lot to see here. A lot to see. As we're getting rolling, I'm going to switch some gears here. This neck of the woods to see some totem poles. The road, as soon as you turn onto the road's going to have us go straight down a little bit, then we're going to turn going that way. As we turn going this way, over here on this side of the vehicle, we are going to see the tallest totem pole in town. It'll be over here on the starboard side. It'll be just past all these buildings. As long as you're looking for it, you will see it. This is the tallest totem pole in town. This is called Chief Johnson Totem. It's going to be right over here just past this bookstore. You'll see it right here. What's fun about this totem pole is that we erected this one the old-fashioned way, meaning we did not use heavy machinery or cranes to put that one up. We put that one up by hand. Yeah, I know we just passed the totem pole, guys, but we can't. Let's keep our heads inside inside the vehicle, okay? Okay. Thank you. Plus, this is on the street. I mean, we just passed it briefly, but this is the way that you, when you drop you off, this is the way that you come. If you guys are going to go back to the creek street, that creek over there, so you would see it again for sure. Now, on your guys' cruise, did you stop at Juneau? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Juneau, they love to trick everybody. They love to fool you into believing that they are the salmon capital of the world. But that is false. Don't let them trick you. And I can prove it. Right over here is the Welcome to Ketchikan sign. And in big bold letters it says, Welcome to Ketchikan. Underneath it says, the salmon capital of the world. We have the sign. We are the salmon capital of the world. Juneau does not have the sign, I promise you. Plus, there's another way you can tell that Juneau is lying. Juneau is the state capital of Alaska. So that means that they have all the legislature, they have all the Congress, they have all the politicians. So Juneau, they're lying. Juneau it. Wang, wang. Here in just a second, we're going to be passing this world-famous tunnel. And it is tradition to make as much noise as we can going through the tunnel. So on my mark, let's see how loud you guys get. Ready, set, go. That was pretty good, guys. Really good. Is it on now? Oh, now it's on. There we go. Now, I think the microphone is part of Union, because it seems like every 20 minutes they have to take a break. But yeah, that tunnel is world famous. And I dare say that you guys were the loudest of the season. That was really good. Really nice. Very good. I'm proud of you guys. But that tunnel is world famous. What makes that tunnel famous is that it's back in the 90s, it was in the Guinness Book of World Records for being the most versatile tunnel in the world. It's versatile because you can drive through it, you can walk through it, you can drive around it, walk around it, you can drive on top of it, walk on top of it, you can even live on top of it. And at low tide, you can drive underneath it. It's the small things that keep us going. Now, I've been hinting at this throughout my tour, but Ketchikan is an island. We are not connected to the mainland. There is no road or bridge or nothing that connects us. We're an island. The official name of the island is Revillagigedo. Revillagigedo. The mountain. You might be thinking to yourself, oh, Revillagigedo is probably some sort of native word meaning something or other, but that's false. Revillagigedo is the name of a 17th century Spanish viceroy back in the 1700s. Back in the late 1700s, when the British were coming and discovering this area, charting more like, the British guy who discovered this island named it after his friend, the Spanish viceroy of New Spain. His name was Revillagigedo. So this island is named after some 17th century Mexican count, or whatever the equivalent of a viceroy is. But that turned out that was a lot of joke, but no, that is true. Now, Ketchikan, that is a native word meaning something or other, and we'll talk about what that means later on. The island of Revillagigedo is pretty big. It's about the size of Rhode Island, and only 2% of the island is inhabited. That's pretty much just the city here. The rest of the island, the other 98%, that is just wilderness, bears, and wolves. Oh my. Our population here in town is about 14,000, 8,000 of which live in city limits. Ketchikan is also the fourth largest city in all of Alaska. Anchorage is the biggest, Fairbanks second, Juneau 3, Worth 4. And for the fourth largest city in all of Alaska, and we only have 14,000, that's not very big. That tells you how sparsely populated all of Alaska is. But Alaska is not the state with the least amount of people in it. Oh no. Wyoming has that title. Total population of Wyoming is about 500,000. Total population of Alaska is about 700,000. But if you look at size to population ratio, Alaska is far more sparsely populated. Because Alaska is huge. It's ginormous. People don't realize how big Alaska is. Whenever you look at the United States on a map, they always have to shrink Alaska down to fit on the page. Because of that, people always are a little skewed on the reality of how big Alaska is. But it's so big that you can fit 2.5 Texases inside of Alaska. Anybody here from Texas? Few of us? All right, we can't make fun of them. They're here. Now, because of that whole map debacle, Texas tends to believe that they're the largest state in the Union. Now, a lot of people believe that. And Alaska knows the truth. We love to tease the Texans. There are t-shirts in town that have the shape of Alaska on them, and the 2 scale is the shape of Texas on the inside. Underneath the caption says, "Aw, that's cute." You might have to get yourself one of those shirts. And he wouldn't wear it. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Now, welcome to Newtown, everybody. We just crossed into Newtown. Anybody want to take a wild guess as to why it's called Newtown? Yeah, it's a new part of town. Exactly. Here in Newtown, there are 5 chain restaurants that you guys might recognize from back home. Anybody? Yeah, we just passed one of them, McDonald's. It's for sure one. Anybody want to guess what the other 4 are? Godfather's Pizza, yep. Wendy's, we do not have. Chick-fil-A would be amazing, but we don't have it. Burger King, no. Starbucks, yes, we do have. Domino's, we do not have. We have not Taco Bell, but we have a place called Taco Time. Very similar to yeah. It's really good. We got that. And our last place is, I don't know, you may have not heard of this. They're kind of small, but they're called Subway. They're all over. Those are our 5 chain restaurants. Our Subway is located inside our Walmarts. We have a Walmart up the road a few miles. And our Walmart is actually the second smallest Walmart in the entire nation. The smallest just behind the original one built in Arkansas. But what we lack in size, we actually make up for in revenue. Though we're small, we're one of the highest grossing Walmarts in the world. And that's for 2 main reasons. One, it's almost small, so everything's little down to like 1 eye. And that includes the food. It's not, the only food that's there is the non-perishable soup, which is fine, because that's exactly what all the fish are looking for when they're up in the long haul. second reason, and I think the bigger of the two, is you guys, the cruise ships. A lot of times, passengers like yourselves will go to Walmart and do some familiar shopping, but more often than not, it's the crew members who live on board. They'll go to Walmart when they're in town to resupply. On those days where we get 6, 7, 8 different cruise ships in town, we're liable to get thousands of people all in Walmart doing their shopping. Huh? No. Walmart's probably the cheapest place in town, anyway. So, but yeah. Again, we're pretty hardy group, so there's a good chance somebody's here from Boston. Anybody here from Boston? No? Okay. Is that Bet Summers in Boston? I'm about to say a joke here, and you need to make the people from Boston laugh. But let's see if that holds true. Let's see if you laugh, because you've been there for a few summers. Yeah. Right over here in front of us, this is the largest harbor in town. This is where we're going to turn this bus into a boat. The name of this harbor is Bahama. Whack, whack. He laughed. It works. Here we go. Get that out again. Yeah. Now, as we're going into the water, I will need everyone to reach to your left and buckle your seatbelts. Safety first. I tricked a lot of you. Whack, whack. I gotcha. Yeah, and just like that, we are a boat. Look at that. Let's give Captain Mike a round of applause. Did you guys smoke when you guys in that water? How swimmingly you did? Whack. Yeah. Huh? I will talk all on that. Yeah, get me a moment. So as we said at the beginning of the tour, my name is Garrett, and I am from Arizona. Oh, yeah. Huh? No, I'm at the end of the season, in about 2 more weeks, I go back home. I'm still a student, so I still got to finish my schooling. But yeah. Wah, wah. Exactly. Being from Arizona, though, I am an expert on desert life. I'm sure you guys can relate. Now, if it's anything desert-related, we got you. However, I don't know about you guys, coming here to an oceanside town, I have learned a lot of new things about ocean life. I've learned a lot. Oh yeah, you guys are the opposite there. Yeah, there you go. So coming here, I had to learn a lot. One of the things I learned actually about our fishing industry. I learned how they work and how they operate. I thought it was fascinating. So I want to share my wisdom with you guys. Before I jump into that though, I just want to say this. Bald eagles are known to hang out here. They love to perch on top of the masts of the ships, and they love to perch on top of the rock wall. Eagles, among other wildlife, all wildlife, they are wild in nature. There is no controlling them. They're going to do whatever, whenever they want. That means there is no guarantee that we'll see anything. But if there is something to see, it would be here in the water. Keep a lookout. Keep your eyes peeled. You never know what we'll see. And if you do see something, please say something, because someone will always take a look. And if I see something, I'll for sure let you guys know. And Captain Mike's got an eye out for us as well. So, yeah, keep an eye out. You never know what we see. You can see eagles, any number of marine wildlife. You can see fish, jellyfish, harbor seals, sea lions, really anything. Keep a look at it. Absolutely. Although I will say this, eagles are kind of like ducks in this way. They love the cold, wet, rainy weather. But when it's sunny like it is today, they're usually out. So I don't know where they are, but they're not here. So ultimately, just keep a lookout. You'll never know. Never know. So let me go ahead and talk about these fishing vessels. We have a couple main type of fishing vessels. This is our first one. Actually, no, this is the wrong picture. This is what they look like. They're called pursing. These two vessels that we just passed, the silver one and the blue one next to it, they're both called pursing. They're both pursingers as well. You can tell it's a pursinger because on board they have a couple of arm systems, a couple of crane systems, pulley systems, whatever you want to call it. And then they'll have a smaller vessel called the skiff, either attached to it or on top of it. What these guys will do is that they'll sail up to the fish arm. They will attach one end of that to the big boat, the other end of that to the skiff, and the skiff will sail around the school of fish that's trapping the boat. Then they'll rejoin the net together, they'll put it through the crane system, and then they'll cinch the net up like a purse. That's why it's called the purse singer. And then they'll hoist the whole thing on board. Their whole goal is to get quantity over quality. They're not getting as many fish, but they're getting lots and lots and lots of fish. Anybody see the movie Finding Nemo?
Yeah.
You know, at the end of that film where Nemo's out in the ocean and he sees all the fish that gets captured and he swims into the net and he gets all the fish to swim down, they break free. That was a purse singer they were escaping from. This picture, the first one I brought up, this is what it looks like when they're actually hoisting the net up on board. Kind of gives you an idea of the size of their catch. And then this is what it looks like when they actually dump the catch out on deck and they got to sort through it real quick. Absolutely. Lots and lots and lots of fish. The other type of fishing vessel we have here is called a troller. This is what they look like. You can tell it's a troller because they have a couple of masts sticking up on either side. They do pivot up and down. But what these guys will do is that they'll sail up where the fish are. They will lower those masts at a 45-degree angle. Then on the masts dropping into the water will be steel cables. On the cables, every 5-10 feet or so, will be attached to a hook and a line. And then at a slow pace, they'll sail along and be fishing for hours on end. Yeah, doing that is called tromes. That's why they're called a troller. Then our whole goal is pretty much the exact opposite of that first one. They're wanting quality, not quantity. Not getting as many fish, but they're looking for fish, big ones. Absolutely. And that ultimately is why we are the salmon capital of the world. And that is what we primarily fish for. Salmon, salmon, salmon. The king crab, not here. Now, I was just about to say, when it's not salmon season, we will outfish the vessels to fish for pretty much everything else. We'll fish for everything. We'll fish for crab, not king crab though, so I'll explain why here in a second. We'll fish for crab, shrimp, Buddha, clam, oyster, whatever. We'll fish for cod, rockfish, herring. We'll even fish just for the halibut. Whack, whack. The main crab we do here is the Dungeness crab. King crab is a little bit further north. That's up in the Bering Sea. That's where the show Deadliest Catch takes place. That's what they're fishing for. There's not a lot of king crab down here, so that's why we don't fish for it. What we'll fish for is Dungeness. What brown thing? This one right here? Those are probably condos. Yeah. Same forest that's on the other island. Same forest, it's just divided by the channel. The forest we're looking at is part of the longest national rainforest. Like I was talking about earlier. The whole rainforest is about 17 million acres in size. That is very large. What we're looking at is definitely just a sliver. And it's a clear day, so we will get to see. There is no agriculture. Nobody's out there plowing a field. There's no dirt to do so. And because of that, the forest has to compete with itself to grow. The forest is very thick, very convoluted, rather unhealthy. When the trees die, they cannot fall over properly and rot away like they should. They will die standing up. Because they're held up in branches all over the trees. They will die standing up. Before they can rot away, new trees will guard the stumps of the old, and then trees will guard those stumps, and those stumps, the forest is growing on top of itself. Very thick, very convoluted, rather unhealthy. Because there's only 2 feet of topsoil, the forest out there isn't very stable. It's not very healthy. So when you get the right conditions that come along, we are liable to get landslides. Now, it might sound a little weird, but for the health of the forest, it would be a good idea. It would be prudent for us to have a forest fire come. Have a wildfire climate. Start fresh. Have a fire wipe everything else. Plus, introducing all the charcoal. What? Yeah. Plus, introducing all the charcoal, all the nitrogen into the system would help regenerate all that dirt in the system. And the more dirt we have, the more stable the environment will be, the healthier the forest will be, and the less likely we are to have landslides. But way too wet here. There are no forest fires. Even in our driest months, June, July, August, we still get 4, 5, 6, 7 inches of rain in those months. And the day that the landslide happened, it rained like 4 or 5 inches of rain in one day. So there are no forest fires. Now, it would also help if we reintroduce the logging industry. If we brought the lumberjacks back, the lumberjacks would then chop down sections of the forest, clearing space, allowing time for the old trees to rot away to dirt like they should. And then it would give time, space, and more importantly, the proper nutrients to new trees to grow to be happy and healthy. That, too, would help regenerate the dirt we're missing, but it would be a little bit slower of a process, but it would. that too would aid the health of the forest. And then the left side we already have landslide. But in the 90s, the laws were passed, outlawing logging. So there is no more logging in Alaska. No more. Plus, this whole area has been turned into a national rainforest. Well, it is protected. Even if you wanted to chop down a tree, you could not. It is protected. You have to jump through hoops and miles of red tape to do anything. So unless things change at the federal level, we're going to deal with Mother Nature as is. Which means we are liable to get landslides. Now, in case I wasn't clear before, that is a landslide that happened like 3 weeks ago. I have been saying that, although I have not directly said it, I have been saying it in a more roundabout way, but that is the one. And it is a tragedy, it really is. It took out 4 or 5 homes, and there was 1 casualty in the landslide. Yeah, pretty bad. Now, all that green stuff you're seeing up there on the place where it happened it's called hydro seeding. All it is a little, liquid grass seed. They're trying to grow some stuff on there to help stabilize the environment. Because it will rain again. It rains like 295 days out of the year here. So it will rain. And just help stabilizing that environment will just help less rain runoff and help with help to avoid it again. What's scary about this landslide is that at the time that it happened, I lived 3 doors down before that happened. Yeah. That's what's scary about landslides. That with any other natural disaster, there's always some sort of buildup. For example, volcanoes. Usually there'll be earth rumblings, and then you'll see the plumes of smoke, and then there'll be more earth rumblings, and then it'll explode. Tornadoes, you'll see the clouds in the sky, it'll get windy, it'll storm, it'll get more windy, and then you'll see the funnel start to form. Hurricanes, same type of deal. It'll start off with a storm, it'll get worse, the wind will pick up, and then you're at full-fledged hurricane. With landslides, there is no warning. It just happens. So I didn't know. I was just at home that day watching Cars 2 with my family, and all of a sudden, power went out, and we were a freight train right next to us. Didn't know what happened until after it was done. Yeah, landslides can happen any place, anytime, anywhere. And because I lived so close to it, we were part of my family was part of the evacuation. So, but as you can tell, I'm here before you, so everything turned out fine on my end. We had to wait about a week. Yeah. So, definitely crazy. And that, landslides can happen at any place, any time, anywhere. It doesn't matter where you are. There is no warning, it just happens. Absolutely. Yeah. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Yes, you have a question? Oh, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, although that road... Exactly, that's exactly where I am. It's a little bit south. So for now, though, it's stabilized. Everything's cleaned up. They're making really good progress. So what sucks about landslides is that there is landslide insurance, but it's a very specific landslide insurance, and it's very expensive to get that insurance. So nobody can afford it. So nobody has it. And then when it happens, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think they did. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Right on. Usually about this part of my tutorial, I'm going to take a step back from the mic. That way we don't have to listen to my voice the entire time. I repeat what my voice is. While we're taking that break, I will be walking around, so if anyone does have any questions, feel free to ask. And while I'm walking around, I will be selling you some duck whistles. They'll just like these that are hanging up here. They're in the shape of a duck bill, and when you blow into them, they make a whack noise, just like what Captain's doing. Yeah. That's exactly what they sound like. They make excellent gifts for any kid, any grandkid, niece and nephew, any small person that ideally lives outside of your home. We're selling them for $4 a pop, and they're running a special right now. If you buy 2 of them, they're only $8. A steal of a deal right there. Yeah. They really do make a good gift. On the lanyard that they come with, it does say Ketchikan Duck Tours on it. So if you were looking for a keepsake, this would be perfect. Yeah, let me go ahead and I'll throw out some music. We'll get that break started. shot of the rain there to the left. It turns out even jumping in lightning, like, you know, a couple of these back stuff. Russia. Yep. Do you know why Russia sold it to the States? Part of it, money part of it. There's a bunch of reasons why Russia sold it. Ultimately, this is the tipping point. Just south of us, like I was saying, is British Columbia, Canada. Back in the 1800s, the British had a very thriving fur trading empire. Very, very lucrative, very wealthy. So the Russians who were up here, they thought they were worried that the Brits would come north into Alaska and take Alaska from the Russians. And Alaska was so far removed from the Russian capital that even if they wanted to defend the territory, they could not. So rather than it falling into the British hands, the Russians, excuse me, thank you, the Russians sold it to the States, that way it wouldn't fall into British hands. Plus, Russia was fighting a war at the time. They were fighting the Crimean War, so they did need money. And they weren't using this territory like they should have, so they were part of it, but they just need to get rid of it. But ultimately, that was the tipping point. The American who orchestrated that deal, he was Secretary of Interior at the time. His name was Seward. And he orchestrated that deal. He bought all of Alaska for 2 cents every acre. That turned out to be like a $7.2 million expense. And that is still cheaper than Central Park. All of Alaska is cheaper than Central Park. Yeah. Now, in 1867, when it became a territory, that was, the United States was still coming out of that Civil War. And so the American people at that time, they knew of Alaska. They'd heard of it. But they thought there was nothing worthwhile up here. They thought this was just the land of ice and polar bears. They thought it was stupid buying Alaska. So there are political cartoons out there. There are advertisements mocking the purchase of Alaska, making fun of it. That's called Seward's Folly, exactly. But then, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, that changed. Everyone was proven wrong. When what was discovered? Gold, exactly. You may have heard of the Californian gold rush. People by the thousands went over to California to find their gold. Alaska had its very own gold rush. In the late 1800s, early 1900s, even going up into the 30s, people by the thousands came up to Alaska to find their way in gold. One of the people who came up here was Charlie Chaplin. He did not come up here to find gold, but he came up here to film a movie about him finding gold. One of his first ever films is called The Gold Rush. It's about him coming up to Alaska to find his gold. And because it's Charlie Chaplin, of course, it has a comedic twist. But the movie's very old. It's black and white, and it's silent. That's how old it is. Now, anybody heard of the RCMP, the Canadian Mounties? Yeah, that and the Alaskan Gold Rush is in part why they formed that. Because the gold rush was happening in Alaska and Canada as well. It went across. So even up into the 30s, that area was still the Wild West. It was very unlawful, very chaotic, unruly. So at least on the Canadian side of things, they formed back then it was called the Northwest Mounted Police. And it started in the Northwest province of Canada. And then they expanded it to hit the Yukon, where the actual gold rush was happening. And then over the years, they kind of expanded that police force to cover all of Canada. But to bring law and order is why they formed the Canadian Mounties, because of the Alaskan Gold Rush. I bet they call it the Canadian Gold Rush, so. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And then in the 40s and 50s, Alaska became even more profitable when what was discovered? Oil. Exactly. Oil was discovered in the far north parts of Alaska. And ultimately, that's what prompted Alaska to become an official state. In 1959, oil was discovered in Purdue Bay, and the United States wanted to capitalize on that, so they made Alaska an official state. That way they could reap the benefits of all that oil. And Alaska is what it is today because of that gold rush. By no means do we have a thriving metropolis. I mean, we are still very sparsely populated. It still very much is the wilderness and wild out here. But it is what it is today because of that gold rush. Absolutely. Recently, Brazil has changed their capital. They've recently changed their capital from Rio de Janeiro to Brasilia, inland. And that's where their priority is shifting. We're seeing that shift in Brazil. They're wanting Brazil to be a powerhouse of themselves. And that is why the capital of Alaska is Juneau. If you look at the map between Alaska and Canada, the dividing line, the border, is a straight line that goes down. When you hit the southern coast, it juts off, and we have this whole coastline where Ketchikan and Juneau are located. That's the geography of Alaska. Juneau is the largest city on that little strip. That's the closest that you can get to the rest of the states, because that's where Alaska's priority is. They want to be involved. They want to be involved where everything's happening. They want to be involved. They want to be supported by. So that's where their capital is. Now, I guarantee you, if Brazil or if Alaska were to break away, become its own thing, I guarantee that they would switch their capital from Juneau probably to Anchorage or Fairbanks to help to shift that priority. That would inevitably happen. Pretty fun, though, huh? Right on. So right over here, guys, we're going to be parking next to this hose, and I'm going to get off the vessel. I'm going to hose this down real quick. Salt water is very corrosive, so I just need to go off and rinse this out real quick. Clean up all the salt water. While I'm doing that, I need you guys to stay here, stay on board. Yes, you can stand and stretch your legs if you need to, but just stay on board. I'm going to be very quick, less than 3 minutes. Stay bird. It is the ptarmigan. Very nice. I'm impressed. This is what they look like. The willow ptarmigans is what they're called. Willow ptarmigan. Ptarmigans are cool. They turn white in the winter, brown in the summer for camouflage. Ptarmigan is spelled with a P at the beginning. So if you're reading on a page, you're not being very careful. It almost looks like the word parmesan. In case you're wondering, they do taste excellent with parmesan. Wah, wah. Very good, though. All right. Next one. Does anybody know the Alaska state land mammal? Moose. It is the moose. Yeah, good job, moose. If you were thinking of Sarah Palin, you weren't far off. Wah, wah. It's the moose. Yeah. Fun fact about moose. Moose love fresh water. Here in Ketchikan, we're an oceanside town. We have lots of salt water. It's very rare for moose to come here. Moose just aren't here. Moose are going to be more inland and more north in places like, fauna is another word for mammal. So all it means is large mammal. The term megafauna is typically associated with the Ice Age animals, the woolly mammoths, saber-toothed tigers, etc. Those large animals. The moose is the last living remnants of the megafauna. That's why moose are so ginormous. They are huge. I always underestimate how big they are. And also why moose act so differently compared to all the other antlered animals out there. They're the leftover of the Ice Age. They're the last living descendants of the Ice Age animals. Pretty cool. Learn something every day? Alright, next little bit of trivia. Now, I'll be honest, this one is my most difficult one. So if anyone were to get this, I would be impressed. But does anybody know the Alaska state marine mammal? It is a species of whale, I'll give you that. Orca, I think I heard, it's not an orca whale. Humpback, not a humpback. Gray whale, good guess? But not. The what? Killer whale, good guess. The right whale. You are dead on, it is the right whale. Good job. Yeah, this is what they look like, the right whales. They're also called the bowhead whale. I'm impressed, young man. Not many people know that. Not many people at all. Cool. There you go. That's a smart young man right there. Now, why isn't this whale, the bowhead whale, a whale I've never heard of before coming up here, and not something more common like a humpback or orca? Well, I'll tell you. Up in the far north of Alaska, very far north, where the Inuits still live in their tribe, Inuits of Alaska. Without this animal, those people would have died off long ago. Yeah. So death, anyways, it's sad. So frankly, it's sad what happened to these whales, but I think it's incredible how we celebrate Native culture this way by making this the Alaska state marine mammal. Absolutely. A couple fun facts about this animal. Yeah. Hey, in case you're wondering where the food truck was, it's just right over there that Calvin was talking about. But a couple fun facts about the bowhead whale. These can go pretty large, 25, 30 feet large. Here's the most interesting fact though. Scientists are still finding harpoons attached to these animals. Those harpoons are dated from the 1800s. That means these animals are living to be 200 plus years old. So any science is just scratching the surface on what these animals are about. Incredible. Now the reason they hunted this animal is because this is a surface level whale. It doesn't dive down deep, very deep to get its food. So you could hunt these on a canoe if you really wanted to. And that's back when whaling was a whole industry. These were almost wiped to extinction because they were very easy to catch on those larger vessels. These people, the Inuit people, they are grandfathered and they are still allowed to hunt these because it's a matter of life and death for them. Without this animal, they would die. So, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting stuff. Now, earlier I said that Ketchikan is a new word meaning something or other. We're gonna learn what it means. Right over here, we're gonna see this last totem pole of our journey. It's gonna be this giant eagle statue right over here. The name of this statue is the Thundering Wings of an Eagle. In the native language, Ketchikan means thundering wings of an eagle. So this is an old totem pole commemorated the naming of Ketchikan. Although back then, Ketchikan was pronounced much more authentically, it had much more authentic pronunciation. It sounded more like Ketchikan, and it was spelled with a couple X's, a few T's, and a couple Q's thrown in it. And over the years, the pronunciation has evolved, which is fine, because in this part of Alaska, we have a can-do attitude. That's why it's pronounced Ketchikan, not Ketchikans. Okay. We're coming to the end of our tour, guys. We're just finding a place to park up here. And I really have had a good time. You guys are an excellent crowd. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. You guys have been a good group. And you've been a good-looking group. That always helps. Absolutely. Now, if you two have also had a good time, again, we'd invite you to leave us a 5-star review. And don't forget to mention my name, Garrett, Captain Mike's name. That'll really help us out. Also, in our duck tour company, we do accept gratuities. So if you've had a good time, want to share your good fortune with us, I'll be up here with a little tit duck. His name is Sir Waddlesworth. That's what he looks like. Feel free to film up as you guys go. I do split this with Captain, so it doesn't all go to me, it doesn't all go to him. Thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you, one person. I heard that. Thank you.